Last night was Impact Wrestling Rebellion pay-per-view with probably the biggest match we've seen in a long time outside of WWE, and it is the big title versus title match. Rich Swann, the Impact World Champion, taking on Kenny Omega along with Don Callis, the AEW World Champion, as the Forbidden Door continues to be, I guess, open. I have a lot of different thoughts on this whole Forbidden Door situation, especially with AEW's relationship with Impact and all that. But it's the pay-per-view that AEW decided not to, advertise whatsoever. But the match happened last night. We have a new AEW World Champion as Kenny Omega. A new Impact World Champion, not AEW. Impact World Champion Kenny Omega, the AEW World Champion, now the Impact Wrestling World Champion as well. All three of these belts are on the line. The TNA Heavyweight Championship, the Impact belt, and the AEW title. You had Aubrey Edwards here from AEW, but again, it was not promoted whatsoever by AEW, and in the end, now this man right here, Kenny Omega, has all the gold. First time in a while. Just remember the last time when somebody had gold from multiple large promotions, not independent promotions, multiple televised promotions. It's pretty crazy to see, but again, AEW did not advertise this whatsoever, so we'll see if they'll start to do it. Maybe they gave a congratulations tweet, as you can see here, as Kenny Omega wins and all that. But to be honest with you, I think this was a bit of a letdown because of the fact that it wasn't advertised whatsoever by AEW. AEW has yet to really acknowledge Impact in that aspect. So it just really didn't have the same feel that it should have. If AEW would have promoted it heavy, really built it up as something important, would have legitimized TNA, Impact, whatever you want to call it. And it would have been made for a bigger match, bigger moment, and more important. Will he show up with all these titles on AEW Dynamite this week? Who knows? TNA has said, Impact has said that he has to, oblige to all the, responsibilities that come with being the Impact World Champion. So he will be on Impact regularly, hopefully. And hopefully AEW promotes that and pushes that, because that's what they need to do. The whole Forbidden Door thing has been kind of a letdown. Not only because AEW likes to drop their storylines and kind of sleep on them for a little bit and then bring them back, but they just haven't done enough on AEW television to really hype up the whole Forbidden Door, people coming over. They had the Kenta, they had the Good Brothers, but that's it. They haven't done anything else. They missed a big opportunity, I think, with Deonna Purrazzo showing up in AEW. Should have done that. Have her defend the Knockouts Championship there. Knockouts Tag Team Championship should have been defended there. A lot of stuff. Moose should have been there. There's a lot of guys who should have been there in AEW, but AEW decided not to do it. So AEW World Champion, now TNA Impact World Champion Kenny Omega. I think he still has the AAA Championship as well. The man's covered in gold, and we'll see how many more collections he can, or how many belts he can add to his collection as the collector Kenny Omega. He might have to change his name from the cleaner to the collector Kenny Omega. So we'll see going forward. But now your new champion of both companies, Kenny Omega. Next thing, a big thing from Impact's Rebellion pay-per-view is the surprise appearance of Big Cass. Formerly known as Big Cass, now Kaz XL, made a surprise appearance during tonight's Impact Rebellion pay-per-view. He's going as W. Morrissey in Impact Wrestling. I don't know about that, but whatever. I think they should have kept Kaz XL, but W. Morrissey is what it is. He looked great though when he came out. You see the GIF right here. Of him making his return right there, looking good. We saw him earlier a few months back at an Impact independent show. He came out, and that was the big return to him. Now he's there, W. Morrissey. So Eric Young was out of action tonight due to a torn ACL. Cass XL was his replacement. He joined Diener, Joe Doring, and Rhino against Eddie Edwards, Willie Mack, and Chris Sabin, and James Storms in an 8-man tag match. Morrissey ended up hitting the East River Crossing on Mack to get the pinfall. Like it says here, Kaz XL returned to the Indies earlier this year, and he was away since September 2019 due to his battle with depression and alcohol addiction. Kaz was released in 2018 by WWE. So we'll see how they push him, how he goes going forward. Good to see him recover from all that stuff, all those issues he was having, the mental health stuff and alcohol abuse. Good thing he's better now and he's good, and hopefully he can have a solid run in Impact and eventually get back to WWE. I mean, this is interesting to see. Will you see Enzo, the real one, there in Impact now later on? Will they try to reunite that team? He's obviously going back to W. Morrissey. Maybe a few months from now they want to switch it up. Kaz XL, real one, Enzo shows up on the show. Could see what happens. Saying in the same vein, Chelsea Green open to marrying Matt Cardona on Impact Wrestling. So remember last week I talked about Chelsea Green released from WWE, has having green card issues because she's not currently working and not running a work visa in the United States. She's not married, so technically she's not technically supposed to be here. So they're talking about, the wedding was postponed obviously due to COVID. So they're talking about, Will she do it on TV with Matt Cardona, who's currently in Impact Wrestling? Be interesting to see if they have a legitimate, actual wedding on, wrestling television instead of those staged ones that we've always seen over the years WWE do. We saw AEW doing as well. So that stuff going on. Especially as the hot mess gimmick. Do they bring her back and try to make this into a storyline when they have the hot mess gimmick back in play in Impact Wrestling with a staged, wedding between the two, and they get married in real life, quickly just to get her green card status so she can come back, or she has 90 days no compete from WWE, so she has 90 days to get a job lined up for after that 90 days so you can start up again. How is that going to happen for her to continue living, in the United States? Who knows? She'll be free to sign Impact or any promotion once her WWE non-compete clause ends July 14th. There you go. Somebody asked her on Twitter, should they do, a wedding? And it says, we need one happy ending wedding in wrestling. She responds, should we, with a question mark. I don't think they'll do a happy ending. It's just not wrestling style. They'll have to do some schmozzy thing. And maybe the hot mess game comes out. Staying in the same vein as Impact, several released WWE superstars featured in Impact Slammiversary promo. Before we get to the story, I want to remind you guys, drop a like on this video. It helps a lot with the algorithm. Promotes more of our videos to you guys and everybody else out there so the channel can continue to grow. Hit the chair in the corner before it hits you first and subscribe to the channel. Let's get back into this. Several released WWE superstars featured in Impact Slammiversary promo. So let's watch the promo really quickly. It's a gift. There you see Samoa Joe. Slammiversary this July on pay-per-view. You see Mickie James, you see Chelsea Green, and those are the individuals that were there in that as well. So you have here Impact Wrestling, they did a new promo for Slammiversary where tonight's Rebellion went off the air. Promo featured quick glimpses of recent releases, WB superstars, Somoa Joe, Chelsea Green, Mickie James. Somoa Joe soon be making his return in July after his no compete is done and back in Impact Wrestling. That's a big one right there. Similar to last year when the early Slammiversary promo flashed images of Eric Young, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, Kurt Hawkins, EC3, Drake Maverick, Mike and Mira Kanellis were all released from the company with the whole COVID cuts that they had. You also saw NJPW star Kazuchika Okada, who previously wrestled, was also featured in the promo. So can we see Okada? Can we see Mickie James, Chelsea Green, and Samoa Joe all show up at Slammiversary this year? It seems extremely likely. It just so happens that it all happens in July when all those non-competes end up. So it's interesting the timing of all that. So can we see all these guys and girls in here? Looks like it. Looks plausible. Looks like it will happen. Should be pretty interesting stuff to see Samoa Joe back in Impact Wrestling after the long hiatus when he was part of WWE, and Okada come back, Mickie James be there, and and Chelsea Green. So it's gonna be really big stuff there. Next story we got right here. New official WWE banners reveal who the company will be pushing. So WWE released their new banners, how they're promoting every show they have, and normally this tends to show like who they think are the biggest stars, right? Because they're not going to put the smallest stars on these banners because they're promotions, advertising for people to come and watch the shows. So they're obviously going to put the biggest stars that they possibly can that they have on each brand, and these are the ones we have. Raw, it's the usual suspects: Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, AJ Styles, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, and this one right here, Alexa Bliss, a new look Alexa Bliss. Now looks like she's going to be ready to go back into the women's division and start competing again with the promo that she cut on last Monday's Raw. So hopefully that will happen. But you see her there. Obviously this is the tier, the champion. Charlotte's kind of a similar size, and then this one's the smaller one. Same thing on this side, the champion, challenger, similar size, and then a third star who's AJ Styles here, smaller. There's an interesting SmackDown, has Roman Reigns, obviously. Then Rey Mysterio. That's an interesting choice there. They don't really push Rey Mysterio as a single, so for him to be there by himself, it's interesting. And then you have Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins being the smaller of the three here in terms of size of the picture, so that's interesting as well. Here you got Bianca, Sasha, Bayley. Usual suspects. You already know that one. Here's an interesting one. You have Karrion Kross, champion. Then you have Scarlett, and then you have Finn Balor. There's no other woman featured in the active competitor in the women's division here. Scarlett's obviously a manager. You have the champion Raquel Gonzalez. You have Kyle O'Reilly, who will be challenging Karrion Kross soon, and then you have Santos Escobar down here. They see a lot of star potential in Santos Escobar. You can tell, especially with them putting him here, him not even being currently the cruiserweight champion after losing to Kushida a few weeks back. So yeah, this is the people on the three major brands, who they're pushing right now and who seem to be the biggest faces on the show. A lot of them are pretty obvious. The most interesting one here is Alexa Bliss and Rey Mysterio here, and the fact that there's no other female competitor that's in the division, active competitor. Scarlett's, obviously a manager, like I said before, so that's interesting enough. But it doesn't always mean they're going to push them, but they obviously feature them prominently on here because they believe that they'll get the most eyeballs on the product. Next story we have here, Randy Orton wanted Matt Riddle feud after WrestleMania. So We also saw last Monday Night Raw, Riddle got into a beef with Randy Orton, wanted to create a tag team. RKO Bro, which I was a big fan of the way it sounded and interested how to see it would play out. But it says here he wanted this match. WWE had plans for Riddle's Sheamus program to continue after WrestleMania. Those plans were changed around the next night. Riddle entered into a short program with Randy Orton instead. According to Fightful Select, the Viper was in favor of the feud, which helped it along. Those in backstage in WWE said Orton was in favor of working with Riddle and the changes made. Obviously, Randy Orton has that tenure. Hall of Famer, massive superstar for so many years, has the stroke in the backstage to kind of work with people who he wants to work with. When you have that kind of tenure, you can start picking and choosing your opponents for the most part. And he is picking Matt Riddle. We'll see how long this feud continues. Orton had an injury, was injured during that match against Riddle, shoulder injury. We'll see how long he's out for. I don't think it's gonna be too long. May not see him this week in ring capacity. Probably cut a promo or something like that for tonight's Monday Night Raw. But he wanted this, so this feud most likely will continue. Riddle and Randy Orton. Hopefully the RKO Bro ends up happening. Let's get to the last story we have here. Legendary WWE staple reunite for the first time in 22 years. Are to reunite. The Nation of Domination. So set to reunite for the first time in 22 years for an upcoming pro wrestling event in Qatar. QPW has confirmed that Mark Henry, Ron Simmons, The Godfather, and D'Lo Brown will be special guests at Super Slam 3 that takes place February 26, 2022. So a long time from now, but this is announced. WWE Hall of Famers Mark Henry, Ron Simmons, The Godfather, along with former WWE Intercontinental Champion D'Lo Brown, will do their first appearance together in over 22 years. This will be QPW Super Slam 3 in Doha, Qatar. The event will be held February 26, 2022, in their stadium that holds over 20,000 people. This is interesting as well. The show will also feature WWE Hall of Famer Bret Hart, AEW star Sting, Jon Moxley, NJPW Hiroshi Tanahashi, Will Ospreay, WWE Hall of Famer Eric Bischoff will appear as the QPW general manager. The other names confirmed for the show include Sammy Guevara, Brian Cage, Sin Cara, and EC3. This is crazy. The press release also noted that QPW is in negotiations with AEW World Heavyweight Champion Kenny Omega. The event will air on Fight TV. It's a big ass event, to be honest with you. A lot of the names that you see on there. Tanahashi, Will Ospreay, Bret Hart, Sting, Moxley, Omega will probably be there. Guevara, Cage. This is nuts. The amount of people that are going to be at the show is a big time show. So we'll see what happens. If you have Fight TV, order that when it goes down on Fight TV, because it looks like it's going to be one hell of a show. But that's the news we got for you guys today. We have the Nation of Domination reuniting in February 2022 for the first time in 22 years, minus Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Obviously, you know why. He's too big of a star. But, that's the reunite there. But that's the news we have for you today on this Monday, April 26, 2021. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Remember to drop a like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Stay tuned for tonight's Monday Night Raw review right after Monday night. You already know what it is. And make sure you tune into the news segment tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. You already know what it is, time and place. Catch you guys on the next one.